Notes. Here.
Thanks, Derek. Appreciate it.
Well, welcome to the October 6th meeting, the Riley County Commission. Please stand and join in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, public comments. Did you? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, good morning. It's been a crazy week. Okay, Monday late afternoon, I attended the special law board meeting here in the chambers, and all 7 board members were in attendance for the purpose of an executive session to discuss non-elected personnel matters. Under discussion was the upcoming schedule for the candidates for police director interviews. Information will be available when the schedule is finalized, but it will be at the end of October. Tuesday, I attended the LAPC meeting here in the chambers. It was a planning workshop called IPPW. Don't ask me what that means, but they use a lot of acronyms. But
Incident planning, something, yeah.
yeah. They discussed strategy and structure for emergency exercises going forward. Apparently, all the exercises for 22, which included active shooter training, airport, Fort Riley, talks, Riley County Apple Days, kids training, and then that night they had the RCPD night out in the park. But anyway, all those exercises have been completed. So there was a PowerPoint presentation on what will happen in 23 and beyond. I'm supposed to send a copy of that whole presentation out. So Wednesday, went to the Military Relations Committee luncheon. It was held at 4 Point Sheridan, which was a good spot. We'll be there again next month. After lunch, a presentation was made via Zoom, but without a picture of from Poland by Major General John Meyer III. He's the commander of the 1st Infantry Division, and he's in Eastern Europe, in Poland. They have some upcoming events. One of them is the Ghost Tour. It's on October 15th. I'm going to try to make that one this year. I've always wanted to go on the Ghost Tour of Fort Riley. They have the Fort Riley Retiree Appreciation Day on October 22nd, Veterans Day Parade on November 11th. They have on their schedule coming up. Then the next luncheon will be on November 2nd at the same location. It was really well attended. The room was really full, so it's good. In the afternoon, after that, I attended the West Loop Business Association meeting at the Dream Car facility. We talked about all the murals that are going up, especially on the side of that facility. They're really proud of it. They've got some new cars over there too. But anyway, presentations were made by Darren Solden of the Scorpion Project in County. And they also had a presentation by Aaron Estabrook on the Housing Authority building proposal that was tentatively approved the night before at the City Commission.
That's on down on 5th and Pierre, right?
Yeah, they had a kind of preliminary plan drawing. I guess some people are really opposed to it downtown. But anyway, that's going to be worked out. And then that should do it. I think.
Yeah, busy week. Monday evening, I too attended that special meeting of the Riley County Law Board. In our discussion process for hiring a permanent director for the agency, and
I explained it pretty well. We're just kind of working on finalizing the details for the candidates and process for the interviews and tours and everything else that goes along with it. And yeah, last week in October there. So got my calendar cleared for the moment. So hopefully I'll have that done and I guess well in advance of the end of the year. So there'll be some time to get in and get settled and move forward. Tuesday afternoon, after I got home from work, I listened in on the national membership call of the Knoxville Association of Counties. They, along with many other community partners, are working with a national dashboard together that will provide information and resources for counties and local units of governments to help work through and solve the challenges on housing. I expect this dashboard to probably grow considerably over the course of time. It's kind of a primitive thing right now. Most of their other dashboards work pretty well, so I wouldn't think that this wouldn't, but there will be tons of data, tons of information, tons of things to be able to use, and I think it'll be helpful in that process. Yesterday morning, I had a Zoom call with Jason Smith and Darren Solden from the Manhattan Area Chamber of Commerce, as well as Rich. I was on that call. Well, you guys met in person. I fought with Zoom yesterday myself too. Forgot that I don't have it hooked up to the Bluetooth on the truck yet. So that was the first Zoom call I made on there. So had to log out, log back in, and just deal with it off the phone. And I'll sit down and get that one reconfigured when I get a chance. I just forgot about it. So it's not one of those where it's just plug and play and go. So took me a little while. Sorry about that. We discussed a couple of industrial ground sites here in Riley County. And I thought it was very positive, actually, considering I think if it works out the way it needs to and intends to, they've got some people interested as well. So good things on the horizon there. Good dialogue. There's going to be a lot more to follow up internally here too as we move along in that process, just so you're aware. Yesterday afternoon, I spoke with Jared Tremblay, planning manager with the Flint Hills NPO. We discussed a few items, including extending some contract planning work with KDHE. We've done that each of the last 2 years. It'll be a third year to be about 30 grand or so, and give or take a little bit as time goes along. Done with interns. And usually has some pretty good area benefits as well. So we also discussed just primitively the update we're going to be making to our Connect 2040 plan and some of the challenges within the city of Ogden faced with Riley Street down there, Main Street. Have crossing issues, traffic issues, so density coming to the gate there. A lot more people are traveling back and forth. So there's some challenges there. They did not get the DOD grant that they applied for. There's a handful of different reasons why. I think we're going to revisit that at the beginning of the year and get some of the community partners and some other people on board and see if we can put a little bit more denser, more dense, I guess, plan in place to try to get that grant to help. So, and speaking of Ogden, we get a chance to make it over there for the city council meeting, just kind of continue to talk and discuss with them some of the things that we're working on, including a local interlocal agreement on the sales tax when that comes. I know we're in the plans working on that. Congratulate them on a job well done for last weekend's fall festival. And I guess lastly, it sounds like we had quite a barn fire yesterday over in Keats. Sounds like the barn in the area is a complete loss, but certainly glad as always that nobody was hurt or injured in the process of extinguishing that fire. So it's always good to hear. So that's all I've got this week.
Okay, well, Tuesday evening, I attended the Leonardville City Council meeting. They did their approval of the special use permit to put the ambulance on that property we're purchasing. Everything went fine. There weren't any, and Dave Adams had gone around talking to all the neighbors about it, and they were all very much in favor of it. One neighbor said, "Why don't you buy my house instead of that one?" I would, but other than that, yeah. And that he hadn't got a response, and they were all encouraged by it, and everything went fine. So that's all approved and ready to roll. And my understanding that The architect is getting started on schematics and there's a few questions on that stuff, but they's working on that. And that's all I had.
Ready for business, Commissioner? Yeah. First item we have, the motion to approve real estate sales data search service agreement with Dylan Geckel, Vice President of Citizens Bank, Marysville.
Stuff pulled up here. Okay. Make a motion to approve the appraiser's website agreement with Dylan Geckel, Vice President of Citizens State Bank in Marysville.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to approve the appraiser's website agreement with the Citizens State Bank, Marysville. All in favor?
Aye.
Chairman, sign please. Thanks, Anna.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, the Riley County District Court 2022 budget. 23, sorry.
Okay.
I mean, we already approved their budget. And we already did their budget.
This is the state format.
It's just the state
form.
approving it,
Requirement.
into the state.
Yep. It's a required form that they have to submit each
I look
year.
back, that's like, what, did this change or something? Oh,
Right,
this thing, maybe
yeah.
it's just new forms for
Mhm.
somebody.
Yep.
Yeah, I was thinking that this was late this year and it is, but that's because,
Everything's late this
yeah,
year.
exactly. Everything's stretched out to the very end. So, yeah. Okay, make a motion to approve the Riley County District Court 2023 annual budget to be submitted to the Office of Judicial Administration.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to approve the Riley County District Court budget to be submitted to the state. All in favor?
Aye.
Chairman, sign please. Just one place there. There's no real line to sign on there, Greg. But just above where it says presiding officer, I guess. You. Next, Raleigh County Personnel Action Form from Melanie Highsmith for promotion as Curator of Education Design, Museum Department, grade N, step 1.
Is that Alana's position?
And yeah, and as you all can imagine, we had a bunch of great applications.
Yeah.
And both local and abroad, really from a lot of different areas in the country. And it's really exciting that one of our internal candidates goes to the top,
Was she work?
Yeah, she's been working as needed, part-time as needed. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so she's not one of our regular full-time staff people.
I didn't recognize the name. It said, you know.
Yeah, we're excited about that.
It's good.
You, next question, need a motion to approve payroll and accounts payable.
Make a motion to approve payroll and accounts payable.
I would second that.
I'm moving, pardon me, moving second to approve payroll and accounts payable. All in favor?
Aye.
All three sign, please. Any changes in the minutes, commissioners?
I think so.
If not, we'll take a motion.
How about I make a motion to approve the minutes as written from the October 3rd meeting of the Riley County Commission?
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to approve the notes of the October 3rd meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
How the tentative agendas look, commissioners?
Except we're missing a couple Mondays there. Back to back.
Yeah. Any items for next week's press conference, commissioners?
may have something to discuss on next Thursday from AUSA, which I'll be leaving for on Sunday. I need to get with Janet, see if she may want to switch her time out on that Thursday.
Gotcha.
Because they're on the agenda and just do that press conference with me. We both can do it at the same time.
Mhm.
So I'll let you know.
Yep.
I'll get you an email over the next week to.
Yeah, we can do that. We can do that. And just so the commissioners know, Commissioner Folke asked me to have a shorter day on October 27th. They have law board interviews. And so the last item will be 10/20 bid opening. So
Okay.
that way it gives them plenty of time to prepare for what's a pretty important process for all of us.
And hopefully, knock on wood, let's get for anybody I need to hire for the rest of the year. I knocked on wood first and afterwards.
Please don't jinx.
And Commissioner, it's okay. I'd ask Commissioner McKinley if I can kind of do a press conference item today, since we're not here on Monday regarding elections. It always kind of happens that way when we aren't here for our employee day, that we don't have a press conference. So, morning, commissioners. Wanted to get on this morning. Hopefully the press will pick it up and make some announcements regarding the upcoming elections. Of course, commissioners know we do not meet here due to on Columbus Day, which a lot of people think we're closed when we're not. It's when we have our employee training day. But I do not have the opportunity then to do a press conference, and that's what this is to take place. Of course, we have the November 8th general election coming up. So there's a lot of important deadlines coming up for our public. Registration books closed October 11th. So for anyone that is, potentially moved, married, or name change, new to the community that is not already registered, they need to be sure and get registered by October 11th and able to be an eligible voter for the November 8th general election. Advanced voting by mail and in person begins October 19th. So far, we have 1,229 ballots by mail we will be mailing out that are ready to go out on October 19th, and we get more and more of those applications each day. Last day to apply for an advanced ballot by mail is November 1st, and that's by state law. It's because of the time that it takes to get the application, get it in the mail, and be sure it gets to them timely enough to get back to us by election day. I'll go through our advance voting hours in person. It's at the Riley County Office Building at 110 Courthouse Plaza. Wednesday, October 19th through Friday, the 21st at 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday, October 24th through Friday, October 28th, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then this next week, Monday, October 31st through Friday, November 4th, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. We stay open 2 extra hours each weekday for the state elections, and that's something that we've always done in the past. And then we're also open Saturday, November 5th from 8 a.m. to noon. The final day for advanced voting by state law is Monday, November 7th, 8 a.m. to noon. Riley County allows all counties the option to be open for up to 20 days for advanced voting in person. We have always maximized that and used the full 20 days. We're not required to, but we do have it open for the full 20 days. And then, of course, the polls are open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Encourage people to go out to the Riley County website. We have a great website, has a lot of information. Sample ballots. There are 2 constitutional amendments on there. I encourage people to go out there and read those constitutional amendments. And I always encourage people to go and look at their ballots. This is a prime case of why. This ballot on the machines is, I believe, 28 or 29 pages long.
Oh.
People forget, and I think a lot of us forget, when you pull up that ballot, it has all the retention of the judges as well. And so that really surprises people, and people need to be aware, you're not required to vote on everything that's on a ballot, but the machine does require you to go through all those races. So it is going to take some time. We've educated our poll workers on that. It's going to take people a little more time to vote. And so that could cause some potential lines if that happens. That's why I'm always an advocate to push advanced voting to take pressure off the polls. So encourage people to participate in advanced voting. Kansas, November, never know what the weather's gonna be on election day. Weather does impact elections. So I always encourage people to take advantage of advanced voting. Helps eliminate some lines and congestion at the polling places that have just a limited number of voting machines, limited amount of parking and limited staff there. I remember, and it wasn't even a November election, it was an April election, city school election, when we had an ice storm and I had to borrow the appraiser's four-wheel drive Bronco to go and pick up poll workers to deliver them because they weren't comfortable driving themselves that day. And that was an April election. As we all know, I've lived here very long in Kansas, that can happen. So that's why I encourage people to get out there and vote early. Any questions? Okay, thank you. Next, commissioners, we have Craig Cox at 9:00.
Hey, commissioners, I'll see two of you on Monday. Excited about that.
I'll be here in spirit.
Okay, good. Good. We'll think about it. Looks like it'll be a good full day. So
You're gonna make us think about it?
it's just a nice thing to say.
I don't have to make Nebraska jokes to compensate.
Got my red shoes on today.
I see that.
But I did have on purple shoes yesterday, so.
She actually runs faster than the purple and red.
Tends to be the case over all these days, you know.
All right, have a great weekend. Thank you.
Excuse me.
Nebraska, oh, big game.
Mhm. Yeah, a game of,
I mean, Texas.
Texas.
Texas, Oklahoma, the big.
Is that this weekend?
Yeah.
Oh, really? What time is that? You know?
Probably. They was getting the prime time.
So glad K-State's games at 6:30. I actually get to watch it.
What time is it?
6:30.
I didn't know that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I would have thought that game would have been like a 7 o'clock game or something.
Oh,
No, I usually do that one in the afternoon. It's usually noon or 2:30
2:30.
because well, I don't know. Are they still playing in the Cotton Bowl, the old Cotton Bowl in the fairgrounds?
that's a fair, it's,
Yeah.
yeah. It's the
That's
fair-
why it's usually during the afternoon.
They're both on a roll, right?
Which way?
Yeah, downhill.
How many losses does Texas have?
2 already.
Oklahoma has 2 also.
Yeah, they both.
I
they're both though.
I actually haven't followed Texas. For some reason, I've seen the Oklahoma scores the last few weeks.
If you're really bored, you can drive to Lawrence on Saturday and join up with game day.
And who's KU playing?
TCU.
TCU.
I think they'd be out after last week, and that'd be a little worried. But that score last weekend just surprised me.
Which one?
TCU Oklahoma.
Yeah, it surprised me that maybe TCU won, but
But you remember?
No, it was
much of it. It wasn't much of it.
no. I mean, it was the point spread that just gave it.
That's what I said at the very beginning of the season. It was here that I said, I was a big fan of us getting Brent Venables. I thought he had great potential, but there's a huge difference in being a D coordinator and then knowing how to put an entire team together and all the intricacies. He may get there, but this is his first time and they got to give him some time. But I thought it was an experiment and I wasn't convinced they were going to be at the top of the nation.
Mhm.
Well, I thought them being ranked top 10 when it happened, but I didn't think they'd be,
Just
That's why
falling this big.
either ratings right now mean nothing. You don't really know until halfway through the season any accuracy
Yeah,
on any
middle
of
of
it.
October.
Believe it or not, we're almost halfway.
Yeah, we are.
I mean, into their conferences,
Right.
they've had the easy games supposedly. Thought one was going to be an easy game. That bit us. What happens when you prepare for Oklahoma too soon and don't look at the opponent directly ahead of you? That one could come back to haunt us, but we'll see.
We're still ahead of KU. 12. What I saw was correct.
I'm technically tied.
The thing I saw said we were first and they were third. I don't know where that came from. Right, J-State. Yeah, what?
Yeah, remember, KU has played the easiest part of their season so far.
I'm much. And although last week TCU good, but before that, they really hadn't played anybody, so you know, they weren't. But after. He's supposed to KU wins more than one game for us. Better.
What I said last week. I don't know.
West Virginia, I guess they
They already did it. Yeah, they already
So
played.
that was that one.
They just played Iowa State. Is that who they just played?
Yeah.
And that was a 3-point game.
Maybe,
And I
maybe
was-
Texas. I think they get them at home this year.
Well, that's true. They do seem.
Yeah, they do seem to have Texas's number. Yeah. See.
But don't get me wrong, they're improved.
Oh,
They are
yeah.
a better team.
You could see that it's towards the end of last year that they were improving. I mean, that wasn't.
Yeah.
They hadn't won more than one conference game in 10 years.
Yeah, they only had like 6 people in the audience or in the stadiums, and now it's full.
Yeah, down in the Wichita area, there was an old joke from years and years ago. Of course, you know, Wichita State cut football. There were a bunch of supporters who kind of thought it had been long enough, you know, so they went to the league and said, you know, Wichita State wants to foot, you know. Well, I guess the joke goes, they went to the city mayor, which doesn't make any sense, but this is the joke. They went to the city mayor and they said, you know, we want a football team. And the mayor said, well, the problem is we can't get one until KU gets one. That was the joke down there.
Well, you see that group on City Hall again here real soon. And speaking of,
I always liked that joke.
go to the
Yeah.
Cessna Stadium, what they played at down there, there is a plan or something in place to make some renovations to it.
The Cessna Stadium.
Oh,
Yeah, I know nothing about the politics down there. Would there's ever a chance for them to get a football team again?
Yeah, they
Take a lot of
quit
money.
that after that plane wreck, wasn't it? They
What's that?
after that plane wreck, that was when they got ready. for-
No,
it was
five.
it was, yeah, it's been about 10 years.
Yeah,
after
it was in the
that. So it
80s.
didn't help.
Yeah, because the plane wreck, I was a kid then, so that might have been even like the mid-60s.
A long time ago.
I'm thinking
50 years ago.
Well,
right around the same time of the one at Marshall.
Oh, I never tied those two together.
I was close.
I
I
had a
think it would
class-
have been after the Marshall one.
I had a classmate who was seriously dating one.
Mhm.
That was-
Horrible.
Well, you know, Wichita had two big plane wrecks. They had a
October 2nd, 1970.
Seven.
1970.
Oh,
One of the.
you know, then Wichita actually had a Air Force tanker crash in the city back in the 60s. You know, wiped out about
In
4 or 5 square blocks.
the 60s, it would have been when my dad was in the Air Force.
There was actually a man, I can't think of his name of it, but he lived in Hall City, worked for a big dairy down in his last name was Sexton. His son is Eric, used to be the AD of Wichita State, but he was the first black football player for Wichita State.
Really?
You know, he told a lot of good stories.
And my dad's had some good stories too from back in the 60s going through that time.
You know, locker rooms he couldn't get into, hotels he couldn't stay in. And
Yeah, my dad was in the Air Force Station, Mississippi. He had two really good stories, but one, he was getting on a bus, and there was a woman of color carrying groceries and a child, and they weren't allowed to sit, but she was under so much weight, she was shaking. You know, my dad was a young military guy then from, Ohio. So he's left. My dad got up and made her sit down. My dad said he would have thought he was going to get hung under that. Said he made her sit down because she was.
Just keeping things to it's.
Good morning, Commissioners. Craig Cox, Deputy County Counselor. I just thought I'd review with you some status of some matters in my case that you're all familiar with these matters. I just wanted to give you an update. I'm going to start with benefit districts. I do a lot of that. And the Lakeside Heights University Park sewer and water extension is in the construction stage right now. John has been in, I think, with you. If not, we're going to be in with you. They only got one bid on that. The bid was above engineer amount. They've negotiated that down some, but the issue we have with the project is, it's nothing we can't resolve, is that within the statutes to create a benefit district, if the cost of the project at any time exceeds more than 10% of the estimated cost in the petition to create the district, then we have to come in and adjust that price and you have to approve it. At that point, you have the option to just to cancel the project or to approve the higher cost. And so we'll be in, we got a couple of Mondays in a row we're out, so we'll be in probably within 2 weeks with that presentation for you. I just wanted to update you on Keats. I think maybe I've done that before, but we've had our third failure there. I think I've told you that before. And so it's still a viable project as a project in the county offices. We'll have to work to get a suitable sewer project that will benefit that community. And staff is still working hard on that. High Plains Road, John has gone out to bid for that. We're expecting only one bid to come in on that. There is still some hope that road can be paved before cold weather sets in and we get beyond asphalt time. So things are looking promising on that project. This one you've heard too. We've had to wait some time to get the documentation from the property owner, but in the next 2 weeks, we'll be presenting you the official documents to vacate that Stag Hill Road right away for Joe McGraw's business property out by Stag Hill Golf Course, and we should be getting that done sometime in the next 2 weeks. As always, I can always talk taxes and tax cases. In the 2022 tax case, we had 2 properties on Ardmore Circle. It's the Marion edition that did not sell. And actually, we've had contact with an individual and we're in the process of negotiating with him. We can do that under the tax statutes. If it is a tax auction, then we can actually just county can do a private sale to sell those properties. And so we've had some negotiations with him. We're waiting to hear back now from our last contact with him. So I'll keep if we do strike a sale agreement with him, we'll bring that to the commission to approve. That has to be approved by the commission. But that's at least promising that we can get those 2 properties sold and into the hands, hopefully, of a tax-paying property owners. And then I just wanted to update you on the 2023 case. We're going to mail out our notice letters to the eligible property owners on October 14th. So I wanted to give you a heads up about that. And I'll remind you again when that happens, just in case you have anybody call you and have questions about that, I'll keep you posted as to the status of the tax case. We get a lot of timely response back from that letter. I think probably they know now we do one every year, and it's their benefit to respond to it, take care of their taxes, instead of let them go any further into arrears and having their property sold. I attended the same Leonardville City Council meeting with Commissioner McKinley, and it was a very interesting meeting. David Adams told a little story there that I thought we ought to relay Commissioner McKinley, and as he was out there visiting the neighbors, one individual said, why did you buy my property? And David said, well, we didn't know it was for sale. And he said, well, it would have cost you more. So, the city council seemed to enjoy that little story. That's all I had. Unless you have any questions about something I don't know about that people have contacted you about?
No, I did have one about, there's a lot in Cataracts that the county owns. And he said they talked about it.
Yeah, and I owe John an email on that and also get back with her. And this week so far, it's just been so many interruptions. It's been amazing. But the history there is Cataracts was out in the county. It was a county subdivision. And so when they were a county subdivision, they had a county water and sewer benefit district. Well, when they got annexed by the city took over both the city and the water. And you know, at that time, the city acquired lot 70. And on that lot, there's actually a sewer line that goes underneath that property for across it. And then we had a fire station on lot 69. Well, when somewhere in the process, and I can understand part of it, but I've never been able to understand how it all happened. In the process of the city acquiring lot 70, somehow the county got lot 70 and the city got lot 69. So they actually owned the lot our fire station was on, but that wasn't discovered for quite some time down the road. It was really discovered at the time that we wanted to demolish the old fire station there. And just an aside story, that's when I first became acquainted with these properties and in the situation. I actually contacted the city and about correcting that mistake and getting lot 69 back to us, because they were supposed to have lot 70. And I was told that that was never going to happen. So you know, and then sometime after that, I mean, I don't know why they want lot 69. It's a corner lot out there, but I mean,
Like I say, the homeowners they just want to put it back to the homeowner
Right.
association.
And so then,
a picnic area or something.
yeah, and then subsequently from that conversation with the city said we weren't ever going to, the county is never going to get lot 69 back. Ms. Parker contacted me and the homeowners kind of went for a green space. And so at this point in time, you know, all the county can do would be, if the county is agreeable with that, is to give the homeowners lot 70, because that's the only lot we own out there. If they want lot 69, they got to approach the city, because the city has the legal ownership of that, you know, through that. It was, you know, it was a transaction and they just got the lots of the wrong deeds back in those days. So go ahead.
Is lot 70 north of 69, the corner one? Is that the one right?
Yeah,
to the
right.
north of that? Yeah.
It's a bigger lot, but you can't do much with it because there's a sewer easement cutting the lot almost exactly in half. I mean, it would be good for a green space, yeah. And so you still want me to send an email to you on this, and I'll give you this description, and I'll make contact with Ms. Parker. And again,
I mean, I don't see a problem with us giving it back to them. Is there, you know?
and I can usually
their battle with the city, but that's
yeah. Well, I mean, that's and given the homeowners lot 70 is all the county can do.
yeah.
You know,
There's trees there, so it really separates.
and so I will
Nice
get this explanation email. I'd rather have it done out to everybody, and then I'll contact Ms. Parker and talk to her about the process, and I can get a car before the commission fairly quickly, and you know, since it's a real estate transaction, the commission would have to approve that. But yeah, you can convey that to the homeowners if that's what the commission wants to do, you know.
And sit
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
in the
the
cities.
I
Ours
was
is
that
this
piece
one.
next to, you know, that house there on the north is Larson. She's the head of the-
I'll see.
Parker, the head of the homeowners association now,
For me,
is Parker, is Ms. Parker, the head of the homeowners association now?
I may have known that at one point in time, but I can't say that for sure. I mean, she's the only person I've ever had contact with on this matter. And so, and I will, and in her online submission, she wasn't real pleased with my response and Fancy's response. And to be quite honest, it's had less than high priority in an office to get things done when push comes to crunch, and so, but this is good timing now. And so I'll get this acclimation, all three of you, and then I'll contact Ms. Parker, and we can at least do what we can do for the homeowners association. They're gonna have to approach the city if they want both lots.
There's actually one on the corner, which is the cities now. That's where our fire station was.
Mhm.
Is that what this shows? Some kind of a little building there now. Is that for that?
It's
Well, I think that-
storage building, isn't it? Like a little metal building with a garage door on it.
I haven't been out there, never, and so, I mean, but we demolished, we tore down the old fire station because I had contact with Pat Collins about that at the time, so, I mean, maybe I would have thought the lot would have been vacant, would it you, Rich?
Yeah, this has been an ongoing issue forever.
Technically, the fire station was on the
City lot, and the city had our lot. It's
I rolled my eyes when we came across that 2 years or whatever it was ago. And
We originally owned the lot at one time, so,
That's been open for a long, long time.
yeah. So I'll get the information out. I'll contact Miss Parker and we'll come back and you can accommodate her in whatever way you think is appropriate.
Craig, what was the project where the bids were higher than the engineer's estimate? What was that project?
Oh, that was Lakeside Heights, University Park, sewer and water. And they only got one bid,
I remember.
just one bid, and John can explain it better like him, but the problem with that area out there, and Rich, you probably know that is the rock. I mean, every time we dug sewer lines out there, rock's been an issue, so it just makes it costly. And in this day and age, everything's expensive.
Oh, you can tell me. Yeah, no doubt.
Uh,
I saw lumber finally start going down.
A little discussion.
Yeah, that's not gonna last.
I'm afraid you're right.
A discussion that's been occurring on the county council's listserv is the cost of vehicles. Some counties have gotten bids for vehicles, and when they come, it was like an extra $40,000 or $50,000, and they said, well, no, you bid this, you can't. There's all sorts of contract disputes going on because the vendor wants to recoup, the extra costs, and the counties are saying that wasn't your contract. Your contract said we bought for this price.
Well, just like David come to us and said, if we want to get this ambulance, it's now an extra $5,000 or so early on, or either that or you don't get it. So yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, well, one county walked away from it. They said that they just refused to buy it at that extra price. It was only a pickup truck for public works, but so yeah, I mean,
Depends on how bad you need it or not. I think
That's
the
right.
wait time on the one you guys just approved for Anna is 258 days.
and I know
Really?
since I've been filling in for Clancy, we had a discussion about it.
The price of
and
it
appraisal
come back too by the time we get there.
It's interesting times.
It's a state contract. We need to look on those.
The price of the vehicle does, yeah.
As I used to tell Cheryl Collins, living in historical times is overrated. And she'd just smile.
That's all I have, commissioners.
All right.
Time for Mr. Bowler, commissioners. In 30 seconds. By the time you walk slow. Mike, walk slow.
Walk up there and take
How I'm feeling today, slow.
Well, good morning, Commissioners. Michael Fuller with the Riley County Noxious Weed with our staff update. Looks like you guys have got a bit of a slow agenda today, and that includes me. And so let's talk about what we've had going on at the Noxious Weed Department. We've finished spot spraying for our beloved Benito County roads and KDOT, and that's been completed. We are doing fall solid spraying, lower 2/3 of the county, and that's already begun. Continue through October. We're already about 60% complete. That's generally something that we like to do in the spring, but you can do that in the fall as well. And since we're still currently down a mower, keeping one operator busy doing that, and that'll be one less thing we need to deal with in the spring, and hopefully can free us up on some other items. So felt like I was worthy to get that done in the fall, and so we're getting pretty close to get that completed. Speaking of mowing, we are on the third round of mowing in the county, and we're actually over or right at 50% complete, which is a little ahead for the year because we do plan to mow and generally do up until November. But on the third round, as a reminder, we do 2 passes. In most areas, we go out to the fence line. We get lots of compliments on that. Again, that's really not for aesthetic purposes. It's to keep down the brush and also for deer crossing and the safety of the road and to prevent drifting, snow drift. But so our third operation, our third mowing takes literally twice or 3 times as long as the first couple. So, but we're actually ahead of schedule on that, even with 2 mowers going. And I contribute a lot of that to the 10-hour shifts that we're working to keep those things moving. Get the guys out in the field and they're able just to continue. So been really happy with where we are on that. Our next operation will begin in November. We're going to be doing tree trimming. That's part of my department's responsibility. We do work in cooperation with the Public Works Department. And this year they're going to have some additional time for us. I think that diesel prices, what they are, they're kind of looking at maybe ways to kind of shrink down a little bit. So talking with Alvin, they're going to be able to help us out. We don't have any major areas targeted. We've got a few areas, basically some semi-residential areas. We're going to be doing more, I call it more tree trimming than actual removal. Sometimes in the past, the last couple of years, we really went out to McDowell Creek Road and really trimmed back a lot of canopy. No big plans for that this year. It's going to be a lot of spot tree, bringing stuff back. But if you happen to hear from somebody that there's an area that they feel needs some trees to come down, please let me know and I'll put that on the list because we're going to have time to do it this year. On the HHW side, we do have Howie's Recycling Cleanout this Saturday. That's from 8 to noon. And folks know where we're at, second Saturday of every month. Again, no business waste or truckloads will be accepted, but wildly popular. We still have latex paint, and our latex paint, with everybody saying prices are going up, prices at the county have remained the same. That is free. So it's been wildly popular. People, folks, businesses looking to get paint. They love our paint, love the service we provide, and I like to pass those compliments on to the commission just because people are really happy with the service we provide out there in doing that. So thank you for that opportunity. We've also had our annual HHW 24-hour training. That's a requirement that's put on by the Kansas Department of Health and Environment. And part of that training is a tour and processing that we put on out there at the HHW. Justin Brenner conducted that training this year. He's getting to be quite versed in that. And we get some great feedback on that training as well. So we're happy to be in cooperation with the KDHE on that. Contracts were signed with the Cleary building to replace the storage building destroyed in the June storm. Cleary was the original building contractor that built that building. And construction is slated to begin between January and May of 2023 on that replacement. Both of our tractors that were damaged in the storm have now been replaced, or not replaced, I should say. They have been repaired. They're back in operation. However, I am still waiting for the mower that I ordered well over a year ago. Commissioners, you were talking about the delay. Ag equipment is crazy compared to vehicles. We're really looking at maybe coming before you and asking for the CIP of a tractor replacement And we're looking at probably 2.5 years on the replacement of that. And we replaced our tractor 2 years ago at the price of $75,000, and I'm quoted on a new tractor. It's $135,000 now for the same tractor. So that's kind of real life inflation.
Michael, what's the big delay on tractors?
You know, Rich, that's a really good question. And depending on who you want to ask, they'll give you many different answers. A lot of parts are just, of course, New Holland is who generally gets our bids. And they're a European tractor manufacturer. And a lot of parts, I don't know if they subcontract for parts with China, but I've had a lot of different answers for that. It's surprising how much Ukraine is involved in the ag industry. I know that Ukraine has been big on herbicide and fertilizer prices. And I think that transitions for whatever reason into ag equipment. But ag equipment has been staggering for as far as getting it replaced. And I don't know if part of it, I don't know. I don't have a good answer for you. I really
just
don't.
kind of think it would be less than vehicles because there's not quite the technology, although I know
Right.
some of the tractors have amazing technology. You think, the level we're getting, you wouldn't have, because a lot of it's chips, but who
Right.
knows?
Well, and then with the tractors, we like more of a stripped down version. Like we don't need all the hydraulics for the front of our tractors. Well, you get what you get. Really, if you want something, then if there's one that has hydraulics on the front, and you're going to pay for the hydraulics, or you're not going to get the tractor. So there's no real custom ordering anymore, because we could really go with more of a stripped down version on a tractor. And they're like, well, that's fine. Price is probably still going to be the same, and you're going to have to wait a lot longer. So your choice. So just I'll be coming before you on just a little foreshadowing, I guess, that I'll be coming and talk to you about and tractor repairs, frankly, because of parts that get you on both ends. Our tractor repairs, our small tractor was $5,000 to the damage, and it just had some kind of cosmetic type stuff with some hoses on it. It was $5,000. So that's kind of what we're dealing with. We did get our truck back too, by the way. My truck roof was collapsed and that's been repaired. So we're getting some things back. And then our secondary storage building, also fondly referred to as a horse barn, because that's exactly what it was when Riley County built that property. We have a horse barn out there that the roof blew off of it. And the cost of the repair was exactly the cost to go ahead and tear the building down. And I felt, well, if all things being even, I would like to still keep that horse barn as we use it for temporary storage of different things. Even Rich's department has helped use that for overflow for things like the face shields and stuff like that. So I thought it was a viable option. If it cost me the same to tear it down or keep it, I'll just keep it. So we just got the roof put back on that. So we're starting to recover from the storm. I'm happy to report. I will be attending the KAC conference. I believe that starts on October 17th. I'm looking forward to that. And finally, the last thing that I didn't put on there, but it's very interesting. The Kansas state legislature has recently adopted laws that allow for drone spraying of herbicide. It's kind of interesting. And there's a company, Nutrigen, in which the county does business with here. It's kind of a leader in that technology. And they're going to be providing a demonstration here next Thursday in Shawnee County. That's going to be attended by some big dignitaries in the state level. And I've been asked to go down there and help them with that demonstration. I can assure you I won't be flying the drone, but it'll be very interesting to see that technology of these drones, what they're capable of doing. And it has a lot of interest in the Kansas Department of Ag and the agricultural community. So it'll be really interesting to see what that demonstration entails, and I'm very honored to be a part of that. Now, that may mean I'm helping parking cars, which is fine, but I'll still be part of the demonstration. So I'm looking forward to that. It'll be very interesting.
It sounds interesting.
I'm sorry.
It sounds interesting. And I know there's a lot of
Yeah,
that technology now going into farming, so they can inspect the crops with the drones now.
yes, sir. Inspecting crops and
Well,
getting out to areas with spot spray, you know, if there's an area out there in the field that you couldn't get a tractor to without destroying all the crop out there, but you could spot spray, just the interesting things that they can do. And so I'm looking forward to the demonstration just as much as anybody else, to see what it's capable of. But yeah, I'm sure the cost is probably, you know, that's another thing. And so that the commissioners know, weed directors are not licensed under the new law to utilize this technology. So you may be relieved to know I won't be coming before you anytime soon asking for a drone license or a multi-$10,000 drone so that I can spray roadsides. So that's probably a good thing. But right now, only private companies by law are able to utilize that technology. Until we get better grasp on what all that entails, that's probably it. Any other questions in this morning? Thank you for your time, Commissioner.
Thanks, Mike. Next, at 9:30, Commissioner, you have Anna. You got a few minutes, Anna.
Yeah. I have a thing on the line.
Oh.
Thanks. I didn't get a chance to get with you, Greg, yesterday.
Well, I mean, I had no chance to get with you, so it was a mutual thing. So
Yeah,
is today any better?
yeah, today's better.
Okay.
If you have some time this afternoon, if you want to give me a call,
I'll do that.
that works. Yeah,
I'll do that.
that meeting went far longer yesterday than I was prepared for. I had an afternoon lunch meeting with the chamber members. I was like, oh.
I had a lunch meeting too, and I just didn't make it, so.
I made it, but I was late. Felt terrible. So. And no way of getting hold of them to let them know I was gonna be late. So, it's good.
When you're gonna cover this, I know, but when your voter schedule, are the yellow highlights our cases? So I just.
But I mean, I'm trying to what you're talking about. Let's see. The yellow highlights are basically just representing the whole, like the multi. So basically, like you've got some of them that have multiple years.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah,
Okay,
that's what
but they're
that's-
all, there are cases.
Those are, yeah,
Yeah,
those are all,
yeah,
yeah,
I understand the multiple years.
yeah.
I am delinquent taxpayers that have multiple years.
Challenge for sure.
They just, yeah. I don't know why that's just a systematic approach when it comes to taxes.
Yeah. I'm surprised people today.
I have no idea, maybe online,
Yeah,
maybe online.
you should do.
Yeah, Christian.
Yeah, Christian.
There's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of things to cover.
Well, October was a really busy month this year. Anyway.
Hey, John. If you were your Kentucky type Monday, I'll wear my Benedictine.
But I won't be here on Monday.
Oh, you're gonna be here?
I'm gonna be in DC.
Well, that's right. Yeah. Were you Kentucky type probably there?
I could do that. I could do that.
You flying into Dallas or Reagan?
Reagan.
What's better airport?
Yeah.
Any commissioners?
Good morning, Commissioners. Anna Burson, Raleigh County Appraiser. I'm just going to give you the staff update. I'm starting with our personal property. Staff's currently preparing for the October certification. Actually, we've already started that. We've taken paperwork downstairs to the clerk's office to do some quality control. Annual review of the agricultural properties is about complete, as well as sales are continuing to be reviewed of agricultural properties. Watercraft remains unchanged, again, until the state provides a quarterly report. As of right now, earlier this week, we were notified, hopefully by the end of this week, into next week, we will have that, which is far more behind than it usually is. The personal property appraiser 1 position has been posted, and we have interviews scheduled to begin next week. When time is available, staff continue to scan for historic documents, cleaning up the personal property filing system. On January 1st, 2023, new proration rules will take effect on all personal property except mobile homes. So we're staying on top of getting some of that guidance from PBD and how we'll proceed with personal property. On the residential side, annual review has been completed apart from a few properties that have building permits. Those will be reviewed during the permitting phase, which has also begun. Quality control continues through all phases. As of September 28th, we had 1,193 sales, of which 1,011 are residential properties. That's an increase of 73 residential properties since the last update. The total permits for 2022 are 287, an increase of 26 from the last update. As you recall, my last update was a little later than usual, so there's not as many to report this time. The county median sales ratio, considering all sales, is currently still sitting at 88, and the median sale price is now at 215,000, almost identical to last month. We kind of keep teeter-tottering between 215,000 flat, 215,750, back to 215,000. So we're dancing in that $215,000 range. As you're aware, the 2022 mid-year ratio study was received from PBD. We're currently out of statistical compliance on both residential and commercial, and we're working to reduce sales used in the analysis to ensure there's no discrepancies. This report supports what I've spoken of during prior updates. With what we're seeing in the market, our residential values are more typically below market. There is a high probability that values could go up for 2023. Staff are working through the residential land analysis, and hopefully we'll have that wrapped up in the next couple of weeks. The residential appraiser free land position was posted on Monday, and hopefully we will have that one filled as well very soon. Commercial, I've included those 2 spreadsheets summarizing the commercial BOCC appeals docket and waiting to be scheduled. The first spreadsheet is a summary report, including the figures by business name and total appeal value. In addition, the second spreadsheet has a detailed summary by parcel ID number. There are no additional docketed BOCC cases since the last update, keeping the county's total open BOCC cases at 65. Tenant interviews are complete and staff are working through quality control. The new expanded commercial depreciation matrix, as well as reviewing and implementing the economic life study of the other improvements, has been completed and implemented, and commercial analysis is in full swing. Some summaries of the other work. The appraiser's office CIP project was modified and the vehicle was ordered. Ford acknowledged and said, okay. So we're going to hope that means we're good to go. I want to thank John Ellerman's staff for all of their assistance at every stage of this process, as this was a new process to me. Updating the position descriptions is something that's kind of been a continuous project in this last month. Considering we had those 2 positions reopened, we wanted to make sure we're prepared as we move forward. I as well will be attending KAC this month. I'm excited and looking forward to that. Other than that, do you have any questions on any of the information that I've provided, or anything you're wanting to know more information about this time?
Is
Is BOCC scheduling are they scheduling anything right now?
They are scheduling things, we're just not these,
We're
not
not-
these, no.
But they are doing
Yeah.
something.
But yeah, they are doing something, we're just.
But we're not there.
We're not. It's kind of a challenge. I'm probably gonna reach out to Mike and see, what's the holdup on some of these? I don't understand to have a multitude of years like this, why we're not. I mean, I don't know if they're holding off just with some of the other cases that went to the Supreme Court and, those have come back now, so I'm not sure why we're still held up at this point. I can't speak to that. But I'll check into it.
It just keeps stacking up.
Yeah, fortunately, we don't have anything new.
Yeah.
That's a little bit of a relief. And we'll just kind of deal with this as it comes. Any other questions? Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you and have a good day. Have a good weekend.
You too, thank you.
Next commissioner, you have Amanda Webb at 10 o'clock. So you better break.
I'm asking like, where tree has been talking.
Mhm.
Yeah, two maple trees for that. And to me, they look like the same tree. I mean, they're
Yeah.
we got there. But one of them is the first tree to turn.
Yeah.
It's already completely red. It has been for a couple of weeks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, for some, and this year at least it turned all at the same time. Previous years, it'd be this branch and this branch, and then a few days later, this branch,
Yeah.
just branches at a time. And somebody just called, what kind of tree is that? I'd like to get one. It was there when we got, so I called in the Bluebell on the radio,
Mhm.
Derek. And I said something about turn red. He goes, well, it's gonna be stressed. I said, every year, ours, that's the first
Oh.
tree
Yeah.
in anywhere that you see it changes. I said, sometimes it's a branch at a time. He goes, well, that's usually when there's been disruptions to a tree, to the branches. I said,
No.
it's all the same. I said, just.
Just does
it's the
it.
first."
Yeah.
He goes, I don't know. Because he'd been having a discussion, that's when we think about it. I was driving somewhere Saturday morning, he was talking about the trees getting ready. And he's looked into the chemistry of why the tree will change colors, and he's kind of talked about it. He says, we don't really know exactly why. Said that the green is the chlorophyll.
The chlorophyll starts to decrease.
And he said, when it gets cooler, that stuff goes away, and then that
Right.
color has always been there, but the green has been on top.
Huh.
And he said, actually, the chlorophyll is a green, it just reflects green light. He said, if you grind it up, it is green. It just reflects green light. And he was going into all these chemical things. I said, okay, well, here's one for you. Why?
Size of a
I
branch
just
at a time.
branch at a time, and then always way early from everybody else. There's like, because we replaced a fence from our house over to the shop building this year and stained it. And everybody said, oh, that's so neat. You stained it to match the tree. Oh, yeah.
Sure.
We like this color. We did it. And this year, and we looked at it, okay, it does kind of get the trees kind of right just inside of that one. But he said, it doesn't make sense why, I said, it looks, the leaves look the same as the other one, but I'm sure there's all kinds of different maples.
Huh. Yeah, there are. I've got two different kinds of maple that I put in. I can't remember. One was blaze and one was something else. I don't know what they are, but one of them it's getting red now. The other one's still green. So it's
Well, The other one hadn't changed anything at all. This one's completed, and it has been for several weeks completed.
Yeah, yeah, and some
Yeah,
of
this year,
this,
like I said, some of this year, it went from the outside. Yeah, the outside, we started turning red.
that's strange.
It's,
It's got a mind of its own, right?
yeah, it's a strange tree. He had no clue.
I had no clue.
That is odd. But I said, somebody just asked, what kind of tree is that? I'd like to get one. I don't know.
Well, you can
Take
get
some
an app and you can take a picture of it.
Take some
Believe me,
leaves
you might
and
find it.
some blue or something and see if they can figure out what it is.
Yeah, there's, in some of these different neighborhoods have some beautiful, like Tenrex has got, there's one house over in the corner that turns a blaze beautiful red every year. And that's some kind of a neighborhood, but I mean, it's just go, I've never seen one as pretty as that.
And he was all saying, we don't have as many red here in Missouri. So there's, I don't know, it's the weather, the soil.
Mhm.
Missouri and east has more reds
Mhm.
and as you get farther west, then it starts getting more yellow and orange.
Yeah, like all the aspens every year in Colorado, they only get kind of yellow,
Yeah,
yellow and gold,
Yeah.
basically. They don't ever really get red. It's only, and you go through the mountain and it's mainly yellow and gold. It's not real, it's not much red.
you could get, go east, even just to get in Missouri, you get a lot more reds.
Yeah,
It was interesting.
yeah, the further east you go, the prettier they get. I've always got some real pretty trees in her yard, changing, and she's in Virginia. You know, I sit for an elder time, I don't need she's talking. I don't know if that'll ever come. So.
Yeah.
I just saw your email about GovBill. So, I mean, I don't know how it'll play out with Jill and Jana, but I just, so if we would do it in person, how would that play out? Where would that be? I mean, would it be just, maybe use the big conference room up there on the second floor and?
Yeah, probably. That's what we did for our training, which we did a lot more. And then, it would just be kind of, nobody would have their own individual computers per se, just kind of watching the screen and people just kind of running that through some really basic stuff, just so you really know how to get in, how to program, and any comments.
So will someone from GovBill be doing that or, oh, okay, very good, okay. Okay, so I'll talk, when I'm done down here, I'll talk with Jan and Jill this afternoon, then we'll get back with you. Yeah. So do you think, I saw you got your delivery receipts. Was it delivery receipts or read receipts?
Just delivery so far.
I've been to a couple of your meetings and I don't even reach my stuff. With KBS and stuff, I'm familiar.
Anyway, so you haven't heard anything back from them? No. So, I think you were pretty smart to do what you did. I don't know if these are sneaky got people or not, but I mean,
Just want to be really hopefully, but.
I mean, there's no way we can disconnect. You gotta disconnect from us.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah, other than you can tell staff, don't use this. Yeah.
And they can't.
Oh, okay. I saw that on your bio.
Yes.
Oh, this is nothing.
But then he received a notification email, so I just want to make sure.
No.
We just did some stuff. Would have been Tim Foster.
I will tell you that. No.
I can picture you back. Yeah, no, he and I, Tim, Right.
It's nice,
No, I didn't know. I'm trying to remember. I didn't go back and notice. Okay, there was-
That's all the case.
Yeah, it's definitely quite a transition where we get better and a lot to learn. And once we get over that hump,
But thanks a lot. It's been through everything. Hasn't it?
there's been a lot.
I see it. Often.
I just.
You do all the work. Well, I've mixed people. I was at.
I just think about, I think
Done
today.
the first one. I forget the green one in Kansas City.
Which baseball system.
Nice. But then I worked for BPW. See how at least you know how you see it. Most jobs turn that in.
And I just.
Like, I did share something out with them. I'm sure this, at least for those bit. So I think it's. Actually went.
Because that.
I started.
Attaching a document, it was just all, was read. Confusing to me, but you just, I had a secretary that were more said that. You just think that, we're not understand the concept.
That's how we got started too.
I mean, there's such a great.
I think the guy I worked with, I think I started there.
The Mercedes were.
They have faults, maybe. Had about cancer.
Just jump in.
He's doing fine.
Wow.
So some Neil Fisher, getting two people. Somebody, maybe it wasn't.
Just keep telling her.
Oh, yeah, well, they all already agreed to go back, to think back, so they're happy that we made the time to do it.
Something good.
I mean, it really
Is
is.
that Andy?
You know, I fly, wasn't it?
No, what?
So annually, so it would take about.
Yeah, okay.
22,000 annually alone, and the. It'll go up 5%.
Everybody's done construction somehow, that's.
So.
No, you all.
It's, well, I mean, it's famous and even.
That's like,
Right.
The contract.
Really, yeah.
Yes.
Holding.
Probably movement, probably the best thing for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's still done.
Client is. I see it.
I haven't. All I've been doing is.
Yeah.
I go down to Douglas. Bikes in there. I'd rather do it tomorrow, but-
Quality.
I didn't know for 5 minutes.
What I was doing, I was doing like 15 minutes. Kind of real.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's still.
I'm not gonna buy one, because it's expensive, and I have.
It's.
Hard to do around.
Yeah, for sure. Those things are gonna be.
I'd have to be very hard to get us somewhere.
They're just getting paid up front.
So your little thing where
Things.
Really good.
It's gotten better for the people.
Yeah, it's really helps a lot.
There's a, I mean, mistake. There's been, like anybody gets stacked. I don't know. Sure.
Oh, Amanda.
No, I
In a
know.
long time since I've seen it.
Good.
It was all
Weekend?
on the screens. and-
Ready for the 50-degree weather tomorrow?
Well,
But there's gonna be a big swamp.
there's gonna be a mistake.
Yeah, they're saying 50.
Design bid
The
still
high.
has its place, but the small.
It's not?
And that's what we got.
Bad subject.
Leonard.
Tile guy tiled over the.
Yeah, that's good. Well, it's
I
good.
didn't
to
say.
be-
All right, let's see.
Can't get a frame out. Okay. Lot 7. They're coming in lots.
Cut the tile.
It's gonna be a mess.
I'll create some dust in your house.
I don't know where the miscommunication
Yeah.
was. I think it was with the drywall.
Shoot.
So, yeah, I can't use it. I'm sitting there this morning. Like, I'm trying to use it. I can get to, you know.
Oh, Craig. Did you get back with some hand? Diane Bugler.
Sure, great. But that's another email I need to, okay, let's see what process, yeah. I'll get it both done today and copy you on that, yeah.
Ready, commissioners?
All right, good morning, commissioners. Amanda Webb, planning director, here with my monthly staff report. Just a quick reminder, October is National Community Planning Month, so I appreciate you folks signing that proclamation last week. It's always good to recognize. Let's see, so just kind of going through things here. Short-term rentals, we have received 4 license applications to date that we're working through. We've issued one, Darren's done a couple inspections on, Darren's done inspections on a couple others, and then there's another one that we're working through. We sent letters out to folks, the ones that we know about in August, end of August, and any that we didn't hear from at the end of September got another letter. With a 30-day deadline of October 31st. So hopefully we'll get some more in. If you folks remember, you did give a year grace period, if you will, to May 5th, 2023 for existing facilities to come up to standard, different criteria that they might not have met previously that we have now, giving them a little bit of a chance to get that updated. But in the letters we've sent out and in the, conversations we've had and talking about this, we still want people to submit their applications sooner than later. You don't wait until May 5th, 2023. So we really like them. Again, in the letters we just sent, we're saying October 31st. So that's really the deadline we're shooting for. That gives us, of course, time for our reviews, and then that gives folks time if they need to make any updates to their structure. That gives them time to do that within that year period. So
How many have you sent out?
I believe there was 20 letters that we sent out, somewhere in that neighborhood. We know that there's probably more than that, but those are the ones that we've found so far.
But even them, they're not responding.
Well, and so we had, I think, 2 before we sent the letters out, and then we sent that 20 or so, and then we've gotten 2 since then. And I also talked to, and I know Darren's talked to at least a couple other folks, so hopefully they'll be getting those in here soon. So, so more to come on that. I'll keep you posted. So our battery recycling educational program, I always like to talk about this one. Of course, we did our grant that ended in July. We received our final payment in August, so that part's done. But we have our thousands of stickers and flyers that we're, of course, still going to be working to distribute, get on trash totes around the county. Extension and 4-H has graciously agreed to help us place tote stickers, so we're really, really happy and excited for that. So we'll be working with them to, kind of get that process started, get them the materials they need and the routes that they'll need to be working for. We're continuing outreach efforts. One member of our committee actually gave a battery recycling presentation to the Kiwanis in September. That was our first one, and he did really, really well, and it was really well received. People were excited to, again, take the flyers, take the sticker and all of that. So we have a couple presentations coming up. We're going to be before Rotary Club in November, which, crazy enough, is just a few weeks away. And then we have scheduled Kansa Club in early January. And then there's a few others that we're kind of having conversations back and forth, trying to find a time that works for everybody. Let's see if I can scroll down here. So Keats, as I mentioned in the staff report, we do not have a currently identified available space within around the district for a lagoon. However, we're still working on it. So it's not over yet. So hopefully more information to come on that. Hopefully more good information to come on that. But I'll keep you all posted, of course. As I believe we mentioned last time, our consultants from Wood O'Brien's is working on some other potential funding for the project. As you folks probably already know, the Spark Executive Committee did make their recommendations to the state just recently. It did take a while because the submission ideas were due in February. So, and I believe they were originally supposed to come out with their recommendations in summer, but it was just happened. That's just kind of how it is. So we do know that they've recommended to the state 4 different buckets, including connectivity, efficiency and modernization, health and education, and economic revitalization. And the Keats and water and sewer infrastructure falls under economic development. So what we understand from our consultant is that the SPARK committee has recommended allocating 10 million for a local water and sewer project program. Obviously, we know that's not a ton, but at least it's something. So we're going to follow that path and see what we can do there. It's going to be a little bit, of course, before that application is ready and that process is ready to go, but he is tracking that for us. And that'll probably be something we'll be looking at next year. Stop for a second if there's any questions, comments so far. Okay, so our new permit software implementation, GovBuilt. We have our new permit software. We are now live. It's been live since September 19th. So we are super excited for that. Of course, major learning curve. We're getting through it. Little bit of a transition, but once we get through that, it's going to work out to be very, very good for both staff and the public. The program is fully online. So if you have an internet connection, whether it's on your phone, your computer, your tablet, you can get to GovBuilt. People can apply online. They can check their status. They can pay. Permits are all issued online. Everything can be done online, but of course, folks can still come in and submit paper copies and pay over the counter. We're still definitely going to allow folks to do that. And we do plan to assist some of our regular contractors, especially for our environmental health and things like that, on how to use the system so they can get in there and be more comfortable and be doing things electronically as well, because it's really going to create a lot of efficiencies in your department and for the public. So we're super excited for that. We are, of course, going to include some other departments in there who do some of our review and make comments, etc. So we'll make sure everybody's kind of included in that. So, and we have unlimited user accounts. So anybody who wants one can have one. So we're really, really excited for that. So just wanted to give a good update on that. Comprehensive plan update. That's another one I'm excited about. Thank you to Vivian. She helped me put together a dedicated webpage on Riley County Planning and Development website to the comp plan update. Right now, there's just basic information, kind of, what it is, what's going on, why we're updating, kind of how it's all going to work and what we're going to do. Eventually, we want to give folks the opportunity to receive notifications via email. They can sign up online to receive those notifications, and then we will do something where they can actually provide comments and share ideas also on that page as well. So there'll, of course, be a lot more added to that page as we go. And then, of course, lots of other outreach efforts that she and I are brainstorming on, how to get the word out to the public that this is coming up and what we're up to. So again, I'm just excited that we have that webpage going. So we're getting going on this. Again, I know I've talked about the consultant assistance. I've been thinking more about that they would help us with the technical aspects. We have to, of course, update our population, demographics, land use, inventories, things like that. The consultants are definitely helpful for those sorts of things and more technical stuff. And then I'm thinking, help facilitate public and stakeholder engagement, those sorts of things. So let's see. So grants, we talked about the SPARK executive committee decision recommendation, I should say already. Kind of as another part to that, I met with Natalie Gordon, who was the Chambers part of the Chambers Child Care Task Force. We had a really good conversation just about, kind of what their mission is, what they're thinking, different grants, funding, of course, including SPARK. There's, of course, would be both under health and education and economic development, those buckets within SPARK. And as I think you folks know, childcare was identified as a priority for the region and is a big part of our Rural Economic Development Advisory Board's work. So getting more involved in all of that stuff, see what we can do there. That's about all. Just, I'll be attending the KAC conference in a couple weeks with you folks. So I'm excited for that. That'll be my first time. So that'll be good. Any questions? Anything I can research or answer?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next, we have John coming up. Public safety headquarters. So John. Thanks, Amanda.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, guys.
John draws a crowd these days, doesn't he? John draws a crowd these days, doesn't he?
Okay, did you get that resolution for that riverfront property? You know, that's, I'm sure it was about a board to find that resolution.
Yeah, we got that. Yeah, Clancy received that.
Yeah.
Clancy's just been gone since.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Something.
I've seen that, yeah, so
you
that's good.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, so it's, we'll see.
I'm sure Clancy's reviewing it.
He said when he was coming back for the meeting.
Well, I thought he was gonna attend by Zoom today, but
Craig said he's driving, he probably just went to
Still driving back.
So he's hoping to be back.
Yeah, they're gonna try to make it back today.
Yeah,
He'll be in the office tomorrow. He said, this was yesterday text, he said that her symptoms haven't gotten worse, but they hadn't gotten a whole lot better. She was just requiring a lot of sleep, you know, so they were gonna
take a long
make
time.
a couple extra stops before getting back. Yeah, so he was hoping to get in today sometime,
Oh,
but it was gonna be a 400-mile drive, so.
a long ways.
Yeah.
So, not really.
oh yeah.
Yes, never good to be sick when you're traveling.
For sure.
Good morning, Commission. John Ellerman, Public Works. First on my list this morning is the agreement for design services with Arch Images for the Public Safety Headquarters. Previously approved and the site layouts and the study for 911 dispatch center and all of that's been done. And those conditions have been agreed on. Now it's time for approving the design phase of the contract with Arch Images. We're looking at about a 17,500 square foot building, at least 2 stories, to house administrative offices for EMS and rural fire, emergency management, training rooms, emergency operations center, and a backup site for emergency communications, as well as a ambulance station and living quarters. Basic services in the agreement, I lost my mouse. Or the design, planning, architectural work, interiors, structural, civil, and landscape design, security, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and those type of things in there. They also would be coordinating and working with the construction management at risk team as we will prove that or look at that next. The design proposal has fees for basic services, optional fees for furniture, fixtures, and equipment. Kind of helping us spec and set up a bid packet for those if we choose to do, and a 3rd floor shell that was asked for at one time, or at least mentioned at one time.
Yeah, you're showing in here $78,000 for an empty shell. I mean, why is it so expensive?
That's just for the design of the empty shell.
To design an empty shell? That just seems very high.
The cost of service and these days. I mean, it kind of falls about within the percentage of, we're looking at 1.2 million just to build it, an empty shell. This is within 8 to 10% of that, and about so, which is the reason on that they would. It includes the structural side of it, the just architectural features to make it look and tie in with the rest of the building. Heating and cooling and plumbing all have to go into that shell. It's just no interior walls, and the way I understand it or see it.
Well, and also having as an alternate. I guess that's the plan to get an alternate that also makes more drawings.
If you bid or want them to design that as an alternate to something to do later, that extra design will have to go into the base of the building we do want to add on and make it appropriate to build up. Yes.
I'm with Commissioner Boki. It's a lot of money to spend on an empty shell, and I feel like the county has space needs abroad. If we're going to build it, that's fine, but it shouldn't be a shell. We should be using it for something up front.
Well, we could use it if it's got heating and air in it, and you know, it's not just like air conditioned or we could use it for some storage or.
No. We need to use it. We need to use it for, we need to use it for storage. 5,700 square foot. Was that right on that? Was that what was originally discussed?
Something similar.
That sounds about right.
I don't know if I had that where I can find it quickly.
Well, it is a lot less expensive than starting over again with a new building.
Yeah.
For 57,000 square feet.
So that is something we probably need to look at and approve today or not. Going on through here, so the basic services for the design is $768,000. FF&E is $38,150 for that package, and an extra $78,000, like we mentioned, for the 3rd floor design.
38,000 for
pictures and equipment, the one that seems high to me.
They're both high.
Everything, I mean,
Well, I know, but the design, you know,
Just the design.
you're having somebody spend the time to somewhat design or pick out types of furniture, the appliances, the whatever else all that is.
A lot of times the subcontractors who are hired to provide that have people on staff that provide that service.
But it is a service which comes with set cost.
This would be all one package. We send it out to bid and they bid all that we want in it and.
Yeah, we'll design it so the subcontractors know what they're bidding on. The
I understand that.
I think I think it will be too much for staff to try to furnish and equip the building ourselves,
yeah.
something that
I
size.
totally agree with that.
Yeah, it isn't adding a new desk in an office. It's 17,000 square feet.
I remember there's gonna be a lot of communication and technological equipment and things that will need to be supplied there too, particularly for the EOC. I remember they're gonna have a storage cooler to store certain types of medicines and things in. So a lot more than just those three items there when you think about it.
secondary dispatch, you know, so.
Yeah.
And you have the professionals here, there's nothing cheap right now.
Yeah, the first line item there probably makes sense. I don't know about the second one. I look at the overall needs of the county and I think, if we're gonna build extra space, that the extra space needs to be used somehow, some way up front. Which will obviously come with an extra cost because then not just going to be an empty shell, you're going to build it out straight out, but
So you'd rather go ahead and finish it if we're gonna do that.
with the intent of using it for something. Now, I don't know if that something is yet.
Well, like I say,
Without
can't
knowing.
design it without knowing what's gonna be there.
I have a couple of thoughts on
And
it.
there's always, as we know, there's plenty of space needs account for the county. Fill the spaces. We have it.
Yeah, I'm sure we could. But if it isn't there, we can't. No.
Yeah.
So I'm designing, so.
Unique facility with just not all departments really fit in that type of facility, and that's what's unique about it and difficult. It's offsite from so many administrative services that we have that need space. Yeah, health department says they have adequate space, so. It's good to me to help.
But that alone isn't going to solve one specific problem that they may or may not have, but does need to be something public safety related.
We could lease it out too.
Could.
Again, I want to be in
I'm
that.
not sure.
I really don't want to be in that business at this point in time either, particularly when there isn't a county department right now that isn't kind of busting at the seams for space.
Not everybody has to be here. I mean, it's like there's some people from here. This complex that could be moved over there.
Emergency management and fire is already going over there, so that's one.
That's the thing is who.
Open up space here, and I think cost is leaving here, so you're gonna have space here.
Very true.
How big is that space?
I think it's pretty good size. I've been up there
I've been there.
decades.
I know, it's huge.
It's just basically a square.
Yeah.
But this building has many other issues to address if you're living long term here. And you don't know the bid opening for that.
The windows alone is 7 digits plus, I bet, at least. It's a fair estimate, guesstimate, whatever.
You know, I don't know that anyone's talked to anyone, but you know, to me, electrical, it's public safety related. To me, we have RCPD that is always saying they need more space. They need an addition for administration.
You saw that one, you know.
It kind of fits with the EOC,
Yeah,
and then
it
maybe
does.
it changes the tune on where dispatch is.
Yeah. I
So-
think dispatch should be there.
And
But
then it frees up space because I know they're talking about needing training room in addition there. That opens up space in the current facility. It gets some length of life on that facility. But I agree, if you're gonna spend that much money to build it, you need to use it. There's too many needs. Either that or don't build it.
yeah, we just don't know what at this point, but
And I don't know that we have to figure out the actual entity there, but we need to have at least a vision and focus if that's indeed what we want to do. And then as we continue to develop those plans, that could be added into it.
yeah,
Like I say, there's not particularly department. Here's a good buildings there that would make sense.
Well, especially the large, ones,
Except
you
the
know,
health, except. The health department needed more
it's a big space, a larger space, you know, it's just, you know, so many of us administratively, you know, the appraiser, register of deeds, clerk and treasurer all work together on a day
Yeah, they all
out
need to be in the
basis. They
same
need to be in a
place.
similar.
Judicial down here needs to probably be its own
Yeah.
separate entity, but together. You know, if it was 6 times the space, you know, the health department would be somewhat of a fit there, depending on how you design it, but
Kind of an anomaly with it too is, I mean, on a third floor, I'm not sure you want something that has heavy outside customer public traffic,
exactly.
you know, and so.
I kind of like the idea of some of the administrative RCPD.
I think you'd have enough space to put the whole thing there.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I don't know that any dialogue's been had with RCPD.
No, but
You know, where we get 2 votes.
Yeah. And that, I guess, would be a lease space.
No,
No,
we're responsible to provide all facilities for RCPD. It's our sole
And I have to be
responsibility.
honest with you in saying that, you know, most other entities, whether municipal or county sheriff setup, you know, the administrative offices aren't usually attached with the jail. They're usually separate.
yeah,
So this has been unique. We might be, I don't want to say spoiled about that, but that's been unique that you've had both of those combined.
now we have separate administration for the jail,
Correct.
so they don't really need to be there for that.
Correct. Certainly a thought.
Yeah, it is. Well, I think we ought to go ahead and get it designed, get it in the package. We can figure out what to do with it.
And if we do, if we keep it as an alternate, we can process the amendment, say.
Yeah, we're not gonna do it, yeah.
Is it gonna be bid as an alternate, John?
We can ask that.
Okay,
That's what we had talked about earlier.
yeah, I remember that.
Mhm.
I just want to be sure it was set up that way.
Right, so
On there
and
and
that changes the documents to make it an alternate, but that way.
And I might suggest that a couple law board members approach this RCPD, the sooner the better, because they probably already listing, so.
We're gonna be having a lot of meetings, so.
And we got, that may not be the most important thing as we speak right now, but hopefully as we get out of October, maybe early November.
The consensus to go forward with the third floor is an option,
I think so.
and the FF&E.
Yeah,
I think that's going to be more than we can handle internally, and if you're going to build a new facility, you need to build it and furnish it and equip it properly.
It's
It's been made for.
Yeah.
For years.
Correct.
Price.
Yeah.
So let's see. Figure out how to properly put this motion together.
Yeah, don't use my example as much help.
Okay.
But
Don, I've learned over the last few years not to do that to begin with.
the blank line was meant to add the options that you would, the other options. Yeah.
Well, it seems like to me, we're not gonna do that as an alternative. It sounds like to me, you just want to do it, correct?
Yeah.
So, okay, so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make a motion to approve the chairman sign design agreement with Arch Images for the public service headquarters. For the total design fee, which will include both the FFE and potential third floor empty shell for the design fee total of $884,150.
I would second that.
And moved and second. To approve the design agreement with our changes for the public safety building, the total of $884,150. All those in favor?
Aye. Chair, it's just the chair.
Chair, sorry. Yeah. And exercises this morning.
I had a medal, I didn't know.
You're up.
There's.
Thank you. Ready for the second item, commissioners?
Then the next item is for basically to bring the RFQ for construction that has been at risk back in front of you to have a chance to review it, and if there's any items that you wanted to address or look at that it's not included in there. I'd ask maybe to look at the schedule a little bit, because everything we do, I think will have to be through executive session to discuss and bring back to the board for approvals. The first one would be on the schedule is November 17th as a day to review the qualification packets as a group, with the staff as committee and the commission, put our scores together for the evaluation of the qualifications and shortlist the firms that are interested. I will get on the agenda with Cindy here as I leave for an executive session for that. I planned for at least maybe an hour. I think if anything more, we can come in and out and come back into if we need more. I have a feeling we'll need a little bit more. Not sure we need maybe 2 hours, depending on how much.
With, get those out to us ahead of time, not just the 2 days ahead of time.
When they're due on October 28th, that even probably the next day we'll distribute it to commission.
Yeah, I think we're now going to go through.
Or
this.
I can't remember what day the 28th is. I'm for sure that
That's on Friday.
so that Monday commission meeting, we can hand them out to the commissioners to start their review.
Yeah.
And then I gave us a couple of weeks and some time to play with, for our meeting time to do that during regular meeting day at whatever time that happens to be. So if 17 doesn't work, then we need to know that sooner than later. And then if you look down through there, as we shortlist the candidates for the work, then we'll send them requests for a proposal that include a few more items that we haven't asked for in the qualifications, and then set up interviews. That would be ideal to maybe do the interviews all in one day. So there's somewhat back to back, and we don't have too much time to put in between them, but we need to have those days set out aside. So somewhere in December, I know we're coming into 2 holidays and elections here, and it's gonna screw up a lot of stuff, but the best we can, if we can pick up a day or two in December that we want to try to get interviews in. When I send out proposals, then we'll have those dates for the contractors to put on their calendar too. And then I would assume middle in after the holidays, we come back and we'll make a selection for our announcer selection for the contractor management.
More things you can schedule more.
Right.
Holidays actually got Veterans Day too.
Not used to getting that day. So I'm not used to getting that day.
I do like
It's a Friday.
the thing where you're limiting the number of pages in each section, so we don't get.
And actually looking at them, I thought that was quite a bit, but I didn't know how much information we would get.
Yeah.
Probably more than we want, or hopefully
Yeah,
enough of what we want.
they vary us, let's give them a chance, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll limit it to 1.5 inches instead of 3 inch.
Yeah.
And they just decrease the font size on you.
Yeah.
That's true. I think there is some,
It's a note in there.
there is specification on how big the font size can be too. Although I don't know if I have a ruler that I'll measure that with.
Yeah,
But they're too
that
big.
font to scale.
Clancy and I spent a lot of time going through this. So I hope it looks like it covers everything where statute needed in there. And so if you're okay,
I know in your first run through, you talked about having a pre-con meeting before this. Did you think that?
I thought about waiting for that. Let's get the contractors we want to look at, and then proposal part will have a pre-proposal.
Pre-proposed for that section. Oh,
And I'm not even sure that probably necessary with interviews involved, but we can do that. That was my thought.
wait and see what happens. Yeah.
If you thought we needed a meeting at this stage, we can surely stick that in the agenda or the schedule, but
Wouldn't be us whether they had questions. They're thinking.
well, I'm sure they'll ask me the questions when they have them. And we'll get them answers as we need, but yeah, usually that's what that is for, bringing everybody together to answer the questions all at one time.
And then
Yeah,
the pricing, and the pricing will be on the other proposals, not on this one.
Yeah, some basic stuff here, whether they can handle a project this size as far as bonding, but then the fee proposals and the more detail will be in the next sentence.
I know we talk about different parts of these things. Like I say, it's a two-step process of this.
We tried to do it in one, but statute didn't let us do that.
No.
So, I don't know if I need a necessarily motion since you already approved that the process this time, but at least a consensus on we're okay with the document to send out.
Yeah, set up as a motion, do it that way. It's both the same authority.
Okay, well, I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve the request for qualifications for staff to begin solicitation of qualifications of qualified firms. A lot of quali.
Yeah, I would second that.
It moved and seconded to approve the RFQ to be in solicitation. All in favor?
Right.
Thanks, John.
Thank you. Can I expect tomorrow, Monday at the latest, to get out to you. Email will work for you guys? Okay. Then it'll be out quicker.
Yeah. Thanks for coming in, everyone.
Have a good weekend.
I was just.
We're good.
I have no other business, commissioners. We just need scores. John?
You always start with me.
Oh, Clancy's
I've already got
in on
mine written
this.
down.
Why don't you get Clancy? He was the winner
Well,
last
commissioners
time.
always get priority. We got organization.
Well, he gets to listen to all of our things, and then that's why.
Well, he's the one that's been winning the last two. So I'll go first. I prepared for this one. 23-14 ASU.
And I see the fact that you prepared for it means you won't win.
I know. But I know.
Okay.
I won't tell you how much I prepared, John.
Oh, okay.
I just remembered.
You just remembered it, please.
So you going 24-15 now?
No. I played the one game on there. I don't know. This game's always tight against Iowa State, or they blow us out. It's one of the.
Yeah, it is. It's always tight against them.
I don't expect this to be any different. So I'm
No
thinking
matter which team's really good or the other was really bad.
the spread's bounced around from 1.5 to 2 points, which means it basically just even keel. So, and we usually play worse against them on the evenings, which is an evening game. And
6:30.
yeah, I'm going to say 28-26 K-State.
Not far off from me. Greg?
Got more confidence in our defense. I'm saying 28-7.
They haven't scored for the Iowa game, or KU game, they have trouble scoring.
You know, everyone talks about our offense, but 6 sacks from 2 guys last game. That's, yeah, Catherine.
I don't know. I watched Iowa State play last week against KU, and I think it'll be much further than what the,
You weren't impressed.
no.
I wasn't
Especially
either.
with
I haven't watched
kicker.
them at all.
The poor kicker missed three field goals.
Even.
A freshman.
I think Iowa State's going to show up for this game.
You think? Well,
I also think we're getting better and better each game because of, like I said earlier, our struggles. Our quarterback's just learning our system.
Yeah.
He may have a lot of experience, but not in our system.
It's just, it's always a grudge match.
It is. So I call it Farmageddon.
Okay, I'm gonna shoot her 40-27.
And I went 27-24. Green Commissioner Ford is just typically a close game, but
Yeah.
I know nothing about Iowa State.
Oh, yeah.
You get a trophy for this.
And I'm not sure how.
They really did it. Well, they call
Tractor.
they call it Farmageddon, so it ought to be like a green John Deere on the.
That's what I think. Yeah.
I heard some, needs to be some kind of a cup with a wheat on one side and corn on the
That's what
other.
I was
Yeah,
thinking,
right.
some wheat and corn stalks,
Except there's one guy out in Westward, he pushed and call it well, now it's called Switzer Trice.
Call it what?
Switzer Trice because the Pioneers can break the color barrier. Both Iowa State and K-State were ahead of anybody else in the conference.
And I really don't care who wins as long as we win by 1 point.
Yeah,
I mean, who wins that.
all you need is just one extra point.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we've had some games that way. Going back in history.
Don't like them.
I can't tell you what, I can't tell you what year it was, but K-State played KU here at home and we beat them 10-9. I mean, it was a Bill Snyder game, but we beat them 10-9.
Mhm.
What year was that, John?
10-9.
Yeah, at home.
That must have been 93.
I bet it could have been. Yeah, it could have been.
91. We're down. What was it 16-3 in the fourth quarter, or 12-3 in the fourth quarter, and came back to win 16-12. That was 90. It must have been 93.
Yeah. I was listening on the radio back in those days.
Yeah, it would have been 93. Chad May was quarterback.
I don't know how you remember all that stuff.
I lived it. That's the only reason why I remember. If I don't live it, I don't remember it.
You was that Chad May's first year?
Correct.
And you remember why he was quarterback that year?
Because the other guy that we.
Smortesso. Jason Smortesso never showed up.
That's right.
I mean, he won the bowl game the year before, but he never. No,
We didn't play in a bowl game. He played in the Coca-Cola Bowl that year against Nebraska.
oh, okay. But anyway, he didn't.
It wasn't a technical
he didn't-
bowl game.
Our quarterback didn't show up that year.
And we had another junior college guy that was actually supposed to be better than Chad May that came on campus and got some kind of an infection or something and couldn't play quarterback.
Where'd May come from?
California.
Well, I was there, but junior college.
Yeah.
Since he had 2 years left.
Yeah,
Yeah.
junior
Okay.
college.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was the exciting, 93 was exciting. Yeah, that was Chad May.
Well, I had Kevin Lockett. That was his first year. Freshman.
I brought my kids to the first football game that year when we played Missouri here.
Mhm. No, our defense was pretty salty that year.
Chad May,
Top
and Andre Coleman, pretty good team.
Yeah, it was. Memories.
Catherine's just.
Memories.
Yeah.
That's where the lock is, you know.
And I agree with John. In those years, you just lived it.
Uh-huh.
You lived it. You did.
So,
Okay, I don't have anything else. I was just gonna say, have fun on Monday. I'll be here in spirit, and I'll be in DC.
Oh, sure. Oh, sure you will, John. Yeah, sure. You will.
I will, I promise.
Hey, John, you have a good
Just
trip.
like what we
And-
did.
and Enjoy your business up there.
We'll do. I do plan on talking to our legislative delegation about some of the other challenges, including Keats. That's on on the agenda. Don't know where that's gonna go, probably nowhere at the moment, but we'll have that dialogue. Yeah, so.
Enjoy.
Mhm.
Good luck on your travels.
Yeah. Hopefully I don't run into the airline problems that everybody's running into. That's why I don't really like to travel.
Yeah.
So typically flying in and out of Manhattan's pretty easy, but that's.
More of the problems have been on holiday. We have them better otherwise.
Stay away from Chicago, again, in good shape.
Well, that's what I'm flying into both times.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I get stuck there every time I fly.
What's it back today?
Good. Well, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Moving second to adjourn the meeting, all in favor?
Aye.
Everyone have a good weekend.
We'll do.
Yes.
Go Jets.